What's up, everyone? My name is Chris Fanzon. You are listening to the Hidden Doors podcast, and upcoming we have a book review for the book Will by Will Smith. And if you like what you hear, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and the notification bell so you can stay up to date on my channel. And give me a thumbs up if you like what you hear. Don't forget, at the end of this video and in this podcast, we do a word of the day. So stay to the end so you can hear that word of the day. And I hope you enjoy. All right, what's up, everyone? How are you doing? We have the book review for Will by Will Smith, Willie Smith, the Jiggy Man. He is a global movie star, and he wrote a book. So the book is called Will. It's on the #1 nonfiction Amazon charts. It's been 8 weeks on the list, on top books for nonfiction. Will Smith wrote the book, but he also had some help from, I believe, Mark Manson, who wrote the book How Not to Give an F, F-U-C-K, that word, How Not to Give an F. I try not to curse on this podcast so YouTube doesn't downgrade my videos and whatever. So I won't curse. It was published in November 9th, 2021. It's got 432 pages. On Amazon, the price for a Kindle is $14.99. Hardcover is $18.69. Okay, so it's a memoir. This is a memoir about Will Smith's life. Will Smith. I remember listening to this guy when I was young, maybe 10 years old, 10 to 12, when my parents didn't want me listening to, some crazy rap music that had a lot of curses in it. But Will Smith, they were fine because Will Smith didn't curse. Will Smith did not curse. So I used to listen to his music when I was younger. Watched almost all of his movies. He's an amazing actor. This guy is crazy good at everything he does is amazing, honestly. And so I had to read this book. And this book is a very, very honest look into Mr. Willie Smith's life. You see Will Smith as a movie star, and you see him on media platforms, and you see him as this good superhero person, perfect, nothing's wrong with him, saving the day type of character. And this book it's funny because you just get to see him as a person. You get to see the stuff that he messes up, the things that he learns along the way he thinks. He's just like a normal person that worked really freaking hard to get to the position he's in. He didn't come from a wealthy family. He came from, let's say, the bottom. So it's a really honest look at the way he thinks, and it's like being a fly on the wall almost. It's to me, it was one of those books that I did not want to put down. So I think I read it within a week. It seems like a big book. If you're at the store and you see the Will book, it's usually in the hardcover. It's 430 pages. It looks massive. It looks like a freaking dictionary. But it goes by quick. I don't know. For me, it was a very easy read. I like the way it was written. It was easy to read. It made me not want to put the book down. And I like how they set up the book in a way where every 2 to 3 pages there was a natural break. Like when someone puts a little symbol after a paragraph to indicate that there's a new set of paragraphs coming. But it's like a natural break in your reading. I don't know why I love that so much. I think I just like it because if I want to take a break in between chapters, I know there's a more natural break and I don't have to read to the end of the chapter. For me, I'm just someone who hates stopping in the middle of a chapter. I feel like I have to read a full chapter. I don't know why. But it was a very, very easy read. The format was structured well, and you'll feel like a fly on the wall for how Will Smith goes about his life and how he thinks about things, how he's went through all the tough decisions, how he's thought about all those tough decisions. Very interesting the way he thinks. And there's a quote. There's a quote that I want to bring out here, which I think is really nice. So the quote is, "Life is learning, period. Overcoming ignorance is the whole point of the journey. You're not supposed to know at the beginning. The whole point of venturing into uncertainty is to bring light into the darkness of our ignorance." Okay, so if you are someone who, generally, I try to do this as like a self-development YouTube channel, self-development podcast. But I harp on this a lot, that you can't just focus on self-help specific things. I get it. It's important. The mindset, how do you break through the mindset, have a growth mindset? Those are important. But you can find valuable lessons in a lot of other things. Reading, you want to learn how to invest and eat healthy and stretch and exercise and present and set goals. And those things are really important too. And then on the other side of it is, how do you learn from people who have been through these amazing careers and who started amazing businesses or have done something great? You learn from that by understanding their story and things like a memoir of their life. I love reading memoirs. So I read Bob Iger's memoir. I've read this guy of CEO of GE, I forget his name, Will Smith. It's these books are, in my opinion, self-development related books, because you get to learn how they got to where they got and how they got there. They had challenges along the way. What did they learn? And they try to explain those things in their books. And I think Will Smith did a really good job of that. And that quote is so important because I talk about this so much, where as long as you're on the path and moving forward, right? You have two choices usually. You're too scared to move, you stay put, and you don't challenge yourself. So the world is scary and you're ignorant. It's darkness. And the only way to see the light is to actually get on the damn road, challenge yourself, learn, be willing to learn and understand things, and move forward. You'll fall, you'll take the wrong turn, you'll get off track, all the bad stuff will happen to you. But eventually you'll continue and continue and continue to improve. But if you don't get on that path and take the first step, then you'll just be constantly ignorant in darkness. I think this quote came up when Will Smith had his first tour. He did his first tour when he was younger. And they had no idea how to do a tour. They didn't know how to deal with venues. They didn't know how to deal with the taxes. They didn't know how to do anything with a tour. And Will Smith he said, as I take this first step on the bus, I have no idea what I'm doing, but I'll learn along the way. And they've made a lot of F-ups. They F'd up a lot. He admits it. I think he had to owe the IRS a lot of money because they forgot to pay the IRS or just didn't care to. And so he took the first step and he learned. I'm not saying don't pay the damn IRS, but you're never going to, I don't think you're ever going to be successful if you just don't take that first step. Even if you don't know what you're doing, you can try to know what you're doing by talking to people, by reading, but don't let all the lack of information stop you from trying to reach your goals as a person. So that is the quote I think that really is a good description of this whole book. So growing up for Mr. Will Smith, he has always been this entertainment person. He had a pretty rough household. His dad was a rough dude, and ways that Will tried to calm the situation in his household when things would get chaotic. Fists would be thrown from his father. His family was afraid of him. Ways that he would try to ease the situation is using entertainment and trying to make people happy and tell jokes. And he's always used this entertainment side of him to make people happy. And he sort of, that just like was a natural talent of his that morphed into what he is today, which is a global freaking phenomenon. Guy's a movie star. So I don't even know how many Grammys he has, but he's done a lot of crazy things. So there's three influences in his life. He calls it the triangle. What does he call it? Philosophical triangle when he was growing up. So it's a combination of his father, his mother, and his grandmother, each bringing, the philosophical triangle for him that shapes the person who he is. His father was the triangle of discipline. In the beginning of the story, he talks about how he had to build a wall for his dad's storefront, and it involved, brick by brick, putting in the bricks, and it just, I think it exemplified the discipline side of how his dad raised his kids. So he wanted discipline. He wanted them, right after school, they had to come and build this wall, and it took, I think, a year to do. Shouldn't have taken that long, but they were young and they didn't know what the hell they were doing, so it took them a while to do it. His dad had very militaristic ways about going about things. I think he was in the military when he was young, but then got kicked out, the dad. And so he was always militaristic, mission focused. A couple lines he always said was, "Do it at 100%, or you're at 0%. So if you give 99%, then it's the same as 0%." Which Will later finds out like that didn't really make all the sense in the world, but that's like the type of mindset his dad had. 100% always, and put in the most discipline. And so he got a lot of the discipline from his father. From his mother was big on education. Will didn't go to college to go pursue his music career, and his mother was devastated until he found out he was actually doing good within music, and then that was fine. But his mom was very big on education. So she wanted him to study, to learn, and grow, and to cultivate a deep and broad understanding, to either know what you're talking about or be quiet. His mom has a funny quote where it's like, either know what you're talking about or be quiet. And you don't want to be talking to a fool, because then you'll sound like a fool. That's a funny quote his mom used to say, is like, don't talk to a fool, because no one will be able to tell the difference between you and the fool. If you're having a foolish conversation with a fool, you sound like a fool. So she was big into education. And then the last is his grandmother, who was very religious. She took care, like she was someone who would take a homeless person in from the street into her house, cook them a meal, give them a shower, and she just loved being a part of the community and doing good things for the community, being religious, looking up to God. And so those three ideas, the discipline, the education, and the love from the grandmother, would really shape Will Smith as a person, probably throughout the rest of his life. And his grandma Gigi is the one who initially found some Will Smith. I think she found, so the grandmother Gigi found Will Smith's like book where he would write all of his raps, and she found curse words in it, and she said something to Will. I forget what the hell she said, but she said something that made Will rethink about how he would write his raps. And instead of, being raw and filthy with his language, it would be uplifting and happy and positive. And so ever since that day that the grandmother found the book and said something to Will about, you should not approach it like this, Will has always since then never cursed in his raps. So Gigi, you can thank Gigi for the Will Smith. Actually, I should thank it, Gigi, because, that was the one artist that I was allowed to listen to when I was 10 years old, listening to music. So this is it's a good book, man. You're gonna, in a nutshell, he has a good story. This guy goes from starting with nothing to becoming a rapper and making, becoming a rapper when like rap wasn't extremely popular, and made a decent amount of money, made a few million, I think. Then they were naive, they were ignorant, they were honestly just stupid, and he lost all the money. So he went from nothing to pretty well known rapper to lost all of his money and now he's a nobody. Then to getting a chance to audition for the Fresh Prince of Bel Air. He gets to audition in this like crazy story where he gets invited to a house party and all the executives from the network are there. And I think this guy's Quincy Jones. I can't remember his name, but something with Quincy is someone who invited him to the party and wanted him to audition at the party. But Will Smith didn't know it was going to be on audition. He just thought he was getting invited to a party. Then he gets asked to audition. He's never auditioned for anything. He doesn't know how to act. And he auditions in front of a house party with all the executives there. And then he gets the part playing the Fresh Prince of Bel Air. He was always the Fresh Prince in his raps. So they made the name of the show based on him. But he was, auditioning for this show that they were trying to pitch to these executives. That became one of the best shows on television. And then he became, after that, he always said that he was going to have, because after his rap career went tumbling, he didn't have a next thing to, do. He then said after that I'm always going to make sure after when I'm in the midst of, a good time in one of my areas of my career, I'm always going to make sure I have the next thing lined up so I don't have a dramatic fall like I did and go broke again. So that next thing was movies. And then his goal after that was to be the best or the most popular movie star in the world. And he basically did it. And so he's had a crazy, crazy story. I enjoyed the story. Like I said, I couldn't put this damn book down. And along the way, along all the things that throughout his story, there's ups and there's downs. Even when he's up, there are downs. Because if he has all this money, he's doing well, he's having family issues. So you get to learn a lot about this guy and the way he went about things. Something that I really, really like about Will Smith reading this book is like he's just someone. I don't know if it's being naive or if it's like being just indifferent, but if he is asked to do something, or if he thinks about something, he just does it. He doesn't like overthink things. If there's an extreme of I overthink things way too much and I don't think about them at all and I just go after them. He's like at almost the other extreme. And I don't even know if that's a good thing or not. Who knows? Maybe it is. The guy's way more successful than most of us, any of us. Probably all of us. But he does it to the extreme. And then I think it helps so much to just learn. Just like, oh, can you do this? Yeah, do it. Can you act? Yeah, let me try it. Can you rap? Yeah, let me try it. Like I don't know if it's indifferent or being naive, but he just doesn't have a fear of things. So that puts him in a position to learn. So if you're not afraid of challenging yourself, then he's just going after it and he learns and he learns and he learns and he messes up a lot. That's the big thing about this story, I think, is like he's never afraid to go and do something, but then that results into crashing on his face, looking stupid, losing money, doesn't pay the IRS. But in that process, he learns more than someone who would have never done that. And I think, who knows if it's a good thing or not? I think it's a good thing. I think you need to have a balance of not being afraid to be fearful of taking that first step. So this guy, man, the things he's learned, I'm not going to tell all, but I'll just give a brief few sentences here. He's learned to promote movies with his music talents like no one else has ever done before. When he had big movies come out, he had and a song to pair with it. Think about Men in Black. He has a Men in Black song. Think about Wild West. He has a Wild Wild West song. No one's done that before, and it was a really good way to promote his movies. And I think it helped him a lot become into the person he is as probably the most well-known movie star. He's Also learned to treat his goals like a absolute militaristic mission. This guy, for like a 10-year spurt, was just going movie after movie after movie, but their team was like mission focused. Nothing else mattered. And that was a good thing because the output was, amazing movies. We got to see the output of amazing movies. He got a lot of money. His career was doing great. He was at the pinnacle of his career. And then he realized that he was being so mission focused on that he was neglecting some parts of his family. This is the thing, like, you think you're doing everything so great, and then you're so mission focused that you neglect your family's feelings and how, what they think about what they want to do with their life. He's pushing everyone to go do music and to go do movies in his family, and everyone's doing great. Everyone's making a lot of money. He's at the pinnacle of his career, and at the top, he starts to feel like the ground's coming under from within because, there's a couple things. I'm not going to say it because I want you to read the book. There's a couple things within his family that start breaking down a little bit. And he talks about that pretty openly and honestly, which is nice to see, just to see what the hell is going on in his life. So he had to learn how to deal with that. How do you stay mission focused, but also care about the feelings of other people, especially your family? And just generally, he's always been this person who is a performer, who wants to make the environment different when he's in that room. So just like from his childhood, he wants to be the entertainer that, calms people down and lightens the mood. And he's always, that like is inside, it's like a desire to always please people. Maybe I'm not explaining it so well, but the desire down inside that he has to work through is he's always trying to please people. He's always trying to make someone happy. But sometimes you got to just focus on yourself and be happy. And so that's something that he has to work through a lot. He ended up like being in the gym one day and someone wanted to take a picture of him and he said no. And he got upset. And Will Smith had to just say no because he was in this like whole transformation stage where he wanted first to make himself happy and not other people happy. It's this whole thing. You'll read it when you read the book. But he ended up not allowing some kid to take a picture of him, but deep down inside, he wanted to do it. He's like, I want to make this kid happy. I want to change the way his day goes. But then he also says, but I got to be happy too. Like, I need my time for myself. And so he has this strange, period in his life where he needs to figure that out, make other people happy, or first make himself happy. Ends up going to the room after he denied the picture and cries because it was a tough time for him. So he had a lot of things that has happened in his life. Even though you think that he's at the pinnacle of his career, things happen that emotionally are tough to deal with. So I think you have a lot to learn from this book. He's from the bottom. How did he get to the top? And then when he's at the top, how did he manage that? How did he deal with it emotionally? And how did he deal with staying at the top? It's a lot of things to learn from this book. It was well written. And again, the book was structured great. I could not put the book down. I highly recommend it. I hope that you all get a copy. And now, what do we got? We got a word of the day. So we got a word. Word of the day, is splendor. The word of the day is splendor. It's magnificent and splendid appearance or grandeur. In a sentence, the splendor of the Florida Keys. Some synonyms are magnificence, grandeur, impressiveness. Okay, so go use splendor in your conversation. Build your vocabulary. I hope that you enjoyed this video and this book review. If you did, give me a thumbs up. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't done so already. Hit the notification bell so you can stay up to date on more book reviews, more podcasts, more videos coming down from my channel, because we got more coming. And I hope you enjoy the rest of your day. Take it easy.